Hey friends. Um, Today we're having a kind of lazy dinner day. I'm kind of just throwing together what I can quickly because my boss is sick this week and I have been feeling sick. I spent a lot of time with him last week and I've been feeling sick pretty much all week as well, but we can't kind of both be out at the same time, and he's way sicker than I am. So I've been just kind of like choosing not to let myself be sick, and I've just been like sleeping a lot outside of work and just absolutely crashing out and basically just getting home, eating, going to bed, eating during work, sleeping on my lunch. Just basically sleeping literally as much as I can. And just giving it my all at work, and I'm starting to run out. Anyway, my wife isn't home today, so I'm making myself some dinner. Not that she cooks me dinner normally. I don't know why I felt like. Anyway, because she's not here, I'm recording dinner today. So I'm keeping it relatively simple. A lot of veggies. I've got two pretty sizable fistfuls of cherry tomatoes already in the toaster oven. I just did those. I basically pierced each of them with the tip of the knife. I'm not using my usual knife because the handle on it cracked. You can see. I actually reached out to the company to see if there's anything they can do about it, but I lost. One of the little diamonds fell out. Oh, that sucks. Anyway, so this knife is currently on light duty until I can figure out what to do about it. If the company can't do anything for me, then I will probably reach out to like a knife maker and see if they can just put a new handle on it. I really like that knife. The steel is really good. It's just a really, really good knife. I use it for pretty much everything. Anyway, we're going to do a little trick with the broccoli. I'm just kind of cutting it down the stem and then pulling it apart get sort of reasonably sized pieces. And this stem is kind of rotted, so I'm not going to bother cooking with the stem. We're going to put the pasta in a second. I'm going to break the law and piss off all the Italians. But again, we're doing a quick dinner, so I'm just trying to do this as reasonably quickly as I can. So I'm doing a small pot with a little bit of water. Alright. We've got our broccoli. I'm going to actually borrow. I already did the dishes yesterday, and Kay didn't empty today, but I'm not going to empty for her because I don't feel up to it, but I am going to take dishes from the dishwasher as I need them. Start doing a little bit of olive oil in the bowl. Got the broccoli in there. You can see how little of the little broccoli floret bits came off because we cut down the stem and pulled it in half instead of chopping through the floret portion. Dry our hands. Give a good hefty pinch of salt in here. A little bit more olive oil. We'll give this a toss. And normally I would be pretty precious with taking my time to space out each individual head of broccoli to make sure that I've got very good contact with the pan on each one, but again, I don't really have it in me tonight. It's just getting dumped in. Got this on medium heat, which for me is about a 5. Medium heat means that it will brown and even fry or burn a little bit. but only after like prolonged exposure to the pan, not right away. So we're talking on the order of 5 minutes. It'll start getting a little toasty and brown. And because I want the broccoli to cook completely and it's still a little wet, what I'm going to do is grab this lid and I'm going to put the lid on top, and that's just going to steam. I'm going to have to remember to migrate it around the pan a little bit to evenly cook the broccoli, but that'll be good. And then, that was almost bad. Alright, so we're going to do cherry tomatoes, broccoli, pasta, I have some garlic, not in the fridge, but in a bowl. And I bought, there was a sale on ground meat for, normally I get like $85.15. I prefer a little bit leaner ground beef. I find 80-20 to be a little on the fatty side, but it was on sale for $3.99 a pound, so I picked up 3 pounds of it. So I'm probably going to make meatballs later this week. Could make meatballs tonight. Do I have meatballs in me? In a literal sense, I don't, but fuck it. Alright, so meatballs. American meatballs, Italian meatballs, big fucking honkers. I'm not making those. Those are American meatballs. Those are not traditional, slightly more traditional, still not really traditional, but something that you would get actually in Italy. It's these little tiny meatballs. We're gonna make some of those. I'm just gonna make like a half a pound, so I'm gonna do, let's see, if this is divided into thirds, that would be a pound, so I'm gonna take about 2 little lumps of the meat. And we'll put that in there, put the rest away. And we're going to be really basic with these. I'm not going to throw in a whole bunch of seasonings or anything like that. I just don't have the want or the will. I'm not making a whole sauce. So the reason I'm not doing big honkin' meatballs, besides the fact that I just don't have the chutzpah for it, is they take a while to cook. And typically if you're making big American style meatballs, you want to add a filler of like a mixture of breadcrumbs and Italian seasonings, at the very least like oregano, and you'll typically add like a splash of cream or whole milk to your meat mixture. And I'm lactose intolerant, so the way that I do it to keep my meatballs sort of bouncy and moist, instead of cooking them fully through independently, I will do the breadcrumbs and the filler. Sometimes I'll do rice. In this case I'm using gluten-free breadcrumbs, which are very similar in texture to like panko breadcrumbs. I'm using a good amount of them. And I'm going to break that egg yolk, and I'm just going to mix it. And what I'm going to do, what I would do is I would sear them on all sides, and then I would finish them in the sauce. After searing them. And that would be for, fairly large meatballs. Just warming this up a little bit with my hands because it is still ice cold from the fridge. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of salt. which will make it a little bit tougher, but I'm okay with that because these things are going to be tiny. And again, these are 80-20, so I'm going to break that in half, break that in half again, break that in half again, break that in half again, and that's about the size of meatball that I'm going to go for. This will be about 2 portions. It will be a little bit more than a half a pound a portion, probably about a third of a pound per portion of beef. And then just because I could feel that it was a little bit more than half a pound in my hands when I pulled it out. 1 fistful of ground beef for me is about half a pound, and it was just a little bit more than that. So I'm making about 2 portions worth of meatballs is the point I was getting to. I'm pretty fresh because I took a shower and then I took a nap. I had a little lay down for a bit. So once I finish washing my hands, put our meatballs rolled up, and again, these are really, really simple meatballs. We're going to put in our pasta, which needs, it says on the box about 12 minutes, but in my experience, it takes closer to 15. You have to kind of watch it like a hawk though, because it's gluten-free pasta, and it goes from like edible to paste in like a difference of 30 seconds. I've got very little water in there. I've got basically just enough water to cover the amount of pasta that I'm using. I'm going to go with probably about this much. This is a portion for me. Italians, turn your heads. So that sets my timer now for about 12 to 15 minutes before I have to get my meal on the table. The broccoli is just about done. Broccoli's good. I'm using a fork in this pan. This is a cast iron pan, so I don't have to worry about scratching it up. But to give you an idea, so we've got like this bright green side, and then we've got the side that's touching the pan that's nice and toasty and all of this burnt. Which is that's how I like my broccoli. I like a little bit toothy. So I am going to put this on a plate that will be my serving plate for tonight. So you can get an idea about that's how much broccoli I'm going to have with my dinner tonight. And then I'm going to start placing these meatballs in the pan. They're going to get really fatty really quick. Again, these are the 80-20 mix. And I would do even smaller meatballs than this if I had the patience for it. That would be more accurate, probably about half the size. But I'm kind of timing all this out in my head. The tomatoes have about 10 minutes left, although I might pull them out a little bit early. They're going to be kind of saucy and plump when they come out. That will go into the dishwasher after I empty out the dishwasher. No, wait, I'm not emptying out the dishwasher. So we're going to brown up the meatballs. We're going to cook the pasta. Tongs in here? No, where did I put the tongs? Well, I don't have tongs, but I do have tweezers. So let's just stir the pasta. And I guess I will also want some sort of aromatic flavor. And I forgot about the garlic, so I'm just going to man, these scallions are mid. Let's see what we can get from that. Bundle of beat up scallions. This is dinner without a plan for me. This is just kind of figuring it out as I go. Man, these are really beat to shit. Holy. Yeah, I'll have to do there. Way back here. Sure. I'm using 3 scallions, but I'm going to be pretty judicious with what I cut off of these guys because they look rough. And for the meatballs, I didn't mention it when I was doing it, but because I was doing such a small portion, I only put the egg yolk in there. I didn't bother putting the egg white in there, so that'll give it a little bit of that richness like the milk or the cream would do, although you would normally put the whole egg in your meatball mix anyway. That'll just give you something a little bit more to work with. These need to come out. You can see that the sugar's just starting to burn, but the tomatoes themselves have not burned yet, which is exactly where I want them. Pull them there to cool. That's going to be my sort of in lieu of a tomato sauce. And what I'm basically going to do is, when the meatballs are just about done, I am going to toss them with the scallions. I have this tiny little itty bitty baby lemon, which we'll probably do about half of that, squeezed into this dish. Bring a little bit of brightness to it. I laid down after my shower earlier and the whole room was spinning, so I'm really fighting it. Pasta's got 8 minutes left from a glance. So we're between 5 and 8 minutes. Toss the meatballs, make sure that they get fully cooked through. I could even put the lid back on if I felt like it. side seared up. And crank the heat a little bit too. And then once these are done, I'm gonna pull out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 of them. Maybe about half of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got 16, so I'll pull out 8 of them to save for another day. Should fit in there. And then I'll have 8 for dinner tonight. I'll throw in the entirety of the broccoli, the tomatoes, the scallions, toss everything, squeeze the lemon juice, marry it together, add in the pasta. I've got all this beautiful, beautiful super starchy water because I have been using none of it because I had so little water in the bowl to begin with, or in the pot to begin with. And that'll be dinner. Let's give you a look at everything. So we've got our pennule lemons, got our beautiful broccoli, our meaty balls, got our plump roasted cherry tomatoes, and there's our pasta. Should be done right around the 30-minute mark. Taking a paper towel, I will probably soak up some of the beef fat in there just because it's a little bit more than I need right now, especially with my tummy where it's at. Now I could probably kill the heat on this, not carry over, so at the like stage 1, stage before al dente. I probably should, because it'll carry over, cook really quick. I'm going to do my own advice. Actually do it. High on that. I'm going to put this on just to finish up the meatballs. Again, I don't know. So I did the dishes last night, right before I went to sleep. I left 1 cup. There's 1, 2, 3, a water bottle, a mug, 1 bowl, 1 plate, a second water bottle, 2 straws, a container, there's a second plate, fork, knife, spoon, 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 spoon. How? How does she use this many dishes? Don't know. Don't know. Just about done. I'm really nervous. I'm not, but if I were, could just temp one. Yeah. Those are cooked. Take, like I said, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those will be snackies for tomorrow. Paper towel, go. Right here. Kill the heat. Use our tongs so that I don't burn my fingies. I'll just mop up a little bit of that fat. There's so much in here that I will get a full paper towel's worth of fat, and there will still be paper towel in there. There will still be fat in there. I might replace some of it with olive oil, even though we'll see. Alright, so scallions in. Filled the heat, so we're just going on residual heat right now. Scallions around. Nice and fragrant. Broccoli in. Do I want to plate it on that or in the bowl? We'll do the plate. We'll save ourselves a bowl. Don't tell her that I put away one of her dishes. Handfuls of tomatoes. When you're starting to feel sick, gotta make sure you're getting your veggies. Gotta make sure that you're getting some vitamin C. Lost one piece of broccoli. Sad boys. I would normally throw it back in, but I genuinely don't remember the last time I cleaned the stove. It's been like 3 or 4 days. Do our lemon juice. Some aromatic. Yeah, we'll do one more toss. Already looking a little glossy and saucy and wonderful. Let some of the water get in there. Not pouring off the water. Tosses. Olive oil. Letting the broccoli break up into it a little bit. Like texture-wise, like color-wise, you're gonna get this like pink, glossy coating on everything. Just a little bit more of this starchy water. I guess I will just wipe down the plate a little bit from the burnt bits of the broccoli. let's plate this up. Again, I'm not gonna take the time to make this look beautiful. I am just trying to get dinner in my belly. I might not eat all of this. I might only eat like 3/4 of this, half of this. Aesthetic side there. And then let's taste. Doesn't need salt. Just a little bit of salt. Just on the back end. And then I can't do parm, it's dairy, but I'm going to do just a nice pinch of the breadcrumbs. Which, you know, like, farm from the container is basically breadcrumbs anyway, right? So, sawdust, right? So that's what we got. So I'll take that, get a little bit of pasta. We'll get that, we'll get one of these. Oh yeah. Meatballs are tender. The lemon punches through. Scallion gave everything a nice oniony flavor. The tomato add this nice savory sweetness. And then the broccoli is awesome. It's broccoli. There's dinner. Y'all take care of yourselves. Get rest when you need to. Make yummy meals. Make good life choices. And I will see you next time.